Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Focus Up, where we redefine success through the art of storytelling. Thank you for joining us here today. We got Amanda, my co-host in charge, and then we got the wonderful guest AB here with us today.
AB.
So we got AB special here today. Very, very excited. We'll give a little slight introduction before we get here, because this one goes way back. You know, AB, we were just talking about off camera, like you were there my first day at Wayne State for my tour. You know, I never actually been to Wayne State before. I didn't even Wayne State had a football team, so a lot of that first day was pretty interesting. But you come from Port Huron, actually not too far from me and Amanda. She was from Armada. I grew up in Chesterfield,
really?
So we're all kind of tied in
like
from
a
that.
triangle. It's like right around there. Yeah.
I know you were born out though in like North Carolina, so we'll kind of get your story and how you got to Port Huron, stand out at Port Huron High School, ended up playing at Wayne State. Was a captain there as well too, just like myself. And then you've been at Rocket since you left, and
Literally 2 weeks after I graduated.
2 weeks after you graduated. So we'll talk a lot about that. But worked your way up through to President's Club, took the director route, went back to banking, and then now a senior director at Rocket Mortgage. Just excited to be here, man. How you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling great. I know we were supposed to do this I think a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, we're on. I'm ready. I'm excited. And I got the email. I got the packet. I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, we're on point. All right, we got everything. This is exact. I'm OCD about stuff. I'm like, we will not miss. This is great.
Amanda said that guest briefing up though.
And I'm like, I got it. It's going to be perfect. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Very nice, man. So, very good. Very glad to have you here. So, let's jump back to that story about where you come from. Like I said, you grew up and went to Port Huron High School, but I was just remember, like, you're from North Carolina. Like, tell us a little bit about, growing up there and, kind of your path to get to, Michigan.
So both of my parents are in the Army. They met in North Carolina. So
you're Army brat.
Yeah, Army brat for sure. Through and through, right? Fort Bragg, North Carolina was where I was born. And then my parents actually got divorced when I was 2.
Oh.
So my mom moved. She's from Port Huron originally.
Oh, okay. So
my mom moved back. But before that, I stayed in Virginia for 2 years with my grandma. And then I made my way back to Michigan. And I've been between Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia ever since. So
what's been your favorite? Do you remember any of those states, kind of in the transit of it all?
Man, I think that Michigan is obviously my favorite, right? You get all the seasons and the sunny days here, they're second to none. We all know that, right? When the breeze hits,
when it does,
our summers are on point, right? Our summers are literally on point. But there's nothing wrong with North Carolina. I got some family that's in Charlotte right now. My dad lives in Holly Springs. I got family in Georgia. My grandma still lives in Savannah, Georgia to this day. So for me, it'd be Michigan always.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
What's your favorite part of Michigan?
There's no better place than Port Huron, Michigan.
Yeah?
These are the facts.
I was expecting Detroit.
You know what I'm saying? People say Detroit. I've been in Detroit for 11
Pizza?
years. Got Casey's Pizza.
Okay.
But we got the beach, right? If you're growing up, growing up through high school, there's no better place. But like you were saying, Wayne State was something that popped on my radar not until my senior year, and then I didn't know they had a football team. But we actually had somebody from Port Huron go to Wayne State and play, Troy Burrell.
Okay.
So I knew he was at Wayne State, but I didn't go to games.
But you didn't even go to Wayne State though. You went to GRCC.
I went to GRCC first.
That doesn't even. I mean, that
doesn't exist anymore. No,
right?
man,
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, how'd you start?
That was a different world.
That's
Junior college football is a different world.
So junior college football, right? For people that don't know, there's different tiers of college football. There's junior college, there's D3, there's NAIA, there's Division II, there's Division I, there's Division I AA. There's so many different levels. So you're in junior college. So that's kind of like a bridge from high school to you're probably looking to go to a D2, D1 school, right?
100%. And then you get there and it's mind you, you're in an apartment. There are no dorms, right? This is not a dorm life. This is a grown adult life, right? My mom dropped me off. I had a futon from Walmart and a tub of clothes that I put my TV on top of. It was 2010, 11, right? We had CD cases, you know what I'm saying? So it was that happened, and then you learn how you grow up really fast because, like you said, with these different levels of college football, the rules are different too. You can have as many players on a junior college football team as you want.
How many people were there when you showed up?
Bro, there was 161.
161?
Bro, it was to the point where people were taking football pads and shoulder pads and helmets, and you would come you had to protect your stuff. So it was a completely different world, and then to be around people with so much talent and then learn from their mistakes. These were I was 18 when I got there. There were dudes on my team that were 24, 20. They were grown men.
Yeah, grown men.
So learning how to adapt in that environment and find success, and then to make it to Wayne State was a fluke kind of too, but it all worked out.
So you were there at GRCC, and I remember Tony Anise was the coach there. Correct?
Yeah, Coach Anise,
and he's been very successful at Ferris State. Was he like that when he was a coach back in the day? Did you see like him being great at Ferris State now? Was that something relevant or like
yeah, man,
back in the day?
He was able to like put people in position where they were the best at, right? And he knew like he wasn't gonna like ride one player into the point where they were exhausted or get somebody injured. Anis was really good at running his offense and believing in his offense, and then believing that he could coach like anybody up to what he needed him to do. You know what I mean?
What do you think about him made that possible?
Confidence. This dude is ridiculously confident. I don't know if it's just like the fact that he's seen it work at Muskegon and then GRCC winning. I think his first year there he won like 10 games and then like we won like 11 games. It was insane. And then he had like 4 or 5 star recruits like on our team. Yeah, we had like DeMar Dorsey. We had a bunch of guys that were sick, all state players too. So people loved his like. We knew we were gonna win with him. We just had to do what he said, which is he wouldn't.
Was he like more like a dictator? Was he more like a a leader that kind of worked with his players? Like, let's work together. I do my job, you do your job. Was he like, hey, my road, come in here, do exactly what I say, and you'll find success.
It was it was like that, but he would circle back with you. You know how coaches are. There's some coaches that like tell you something and they aren't real with you. Like the politics of it, you don't know. Like this, maybe he recruited me, maybe he wants to play, maybe not. Anis was straight up with you. Like you knew where you stood when you walked in the door and what you needed to work on. If you did it, great. But if you didn't, he wasn't for like the emotion, like walking out of practices or talking back. He wasn't going for any of that.
Okay.
It was not like.
So then, how did you go from? So how'd you go from GRCC?
Yeah, let's talk about the fluke.
The situation.
I actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually like got kicked out of school. So I was out of school for 6 months. I went back home. I was living in my mom's basement, and I was moving 100-pound sacks of burlap potatoes out of a refrigerated train car from like 4 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
Wait a minute. This is
like,
bro. These are dark. These are like dark ages.
I'm trying to tell you, burlap will, bro. You get rug burn from like burlap. You know what I mean? It was wild.
No,
and,
I've had some jobs like that too, coming from Armada.
The worst job. Right?
I worked for a farm. We would go to the farmer's market. It's like 4 a.m. start time. So
yeah, but it's not me.
Throwing watermelons at each other. And I totally get it.
These potatoes are like I didn't know at first that the train car is like. It's stacked, like, as soon as you open up the door, they're right there. There's no, like, I'm going to walk in here and left or right. Or you're pulling from the top. So
trying to get as much as they can.
I knew I didn't want to do that. Yeah. And then
How long did you do that for?
Bro, I was like 4 or 6 months I was doing that.
And your mindset during that was what? Like, what were you thinking? Were you waking up
bro,
and
I'm like, I'm getting strong, right? Like, in my mind, I had to lie to myself, right? Like, I'm like, I'm here getting strong. Eventually something will work, right? There were times I was doubting it. I was like, maybe I just should go to the military, like my parents, you know what I mean? But I was like, I'm in here getting strong, bro. And then I would do that. I would take a nap for a couple hours, go to the gym, run stadiums, and go home. Like, and that would be it. And then
all by yourself? Did you have a partner?
Bro,
with you?
it was me.
Like,
sounds like a movie.
Everybody was
I was
gone.
gonna say, yeah.
Right?
Like,
Stadiums.
like, who witnessed this? Like, I was like, what are those?
It was me by myself. A lot of times, I had a few people like at the gym that knew like I had played sports, and they're like, "Why are you back home?" That "Why are you back home" hits different when it's from people that believe in you. You know what I mean? So at that point in time, I'm kind of like, I'm just getting ready, and hopefully, opportunity will come. And the craziest thing is, GRCC's program got canceled. Okay. And there was a list that went out of like players that were like, and I was still on the roster from that. Oh. So
but you didn't know that though.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Because when a school cancels a program, like
usually it's a wrap if you don't have somebody that you know. And then Wayne State, Coach Kaz.
Coach Kaz, the man.
So Coach Kaz, I was taking a little silly credits at SC4 because my mom told me just to go to school, but my mom ran into Coach Winters. There's a Meyer. Coach Winters lives in Marysville. Yep. And my mom gets off that exit and goes to that Meyer, and they ran into each other. Yeah, bro. It was wild. So I came, I worked out. I emailed Coach Kaz after that. I went and worked out. Horribly out of shape. Oh, God. Did good in the weight room, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the weight room
I was ready. You know what I mean? I knew I was going to be good with that
They started doing some sprint. Had you doing 110s out there or something?
No, bro, but it was like cone drills and like there was some bench press and stuff going on. I ran a 40. I'm like, bro, I thought my hamstrings were going to pop. If you don't run 40s and you're not in shape,
just get out there one day.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. No. So, supposed to go to camp. That camp, I'm you know they send you the packet, like some stuff you should be doing. I'm like, I'm tired of running 110s by myself. So I went to the YMCA and I was playing basketball. And I went up for a rebound and somebody like bumped me from behind and I broke my ankle a week before camp. No. So I had to call.
You're a walk-on.
Bro.
You just got to try out.
Bro. So I'm like, me and Coach Kaz are like trying to break down the money. Like how much? I need this much for this semester and this much for this semester. I start planning, I need this much, right? And it was crazy. I called him. I was like, yo, I'm in a boot, but they said I'm good in like 30 days. Bro, I didn't get on the field for another year and a half. Like I had to rehab and recover. So that was tough, but I made it.
Yeah.
I joke with Coach Winterson. I'm like, how did I get in here? He's like, you're here now. So shout out to P-Dub.
So the flukeness of it was also, the Meyer in Marysville.
Yep.
Coach, your school canceling the program, but still keeping a roster available players that Coach Cass could tap in and find you. So it seems like everything did work out. Eventually. So.
I thought I was gonna go to Saginaw Valley for real. Like I thought that's where I would end up, but Wayne State was just a better spot.
Gotcha. Absolutely. So is there another situation in your life that's been like really tough like that? Because I feel like you've been through, multiple stages of life now. But like other than that, is there anything else you've been that could relate to like a tough situation like that?
Bro, I'm 31, bro. It's like I can't even believe it. Sometimes I'm like, bro, I'm 31. I remember being 19 and be like, when I get 31, I'll be old, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm old. Man, I've been through a lot of stuff. When I first started at Rocket, I was in a relationship. We were living together. I broke up, right? And then I'm like living out of my car for like a month. Like people, you'll have Rocket stories like that. That's just what it is, right?
Yeah, I think you told me about that.
Yeah, man. So parking lot C over by the Greyhound was where I used to be at. So went through that, and then you get on your feet, and you're like, all right, this is this next level of success where now I got to have a security deposit and first month's rent. Like this is not in the contract, right? I don't know. So I think I have money, but I really don't have money, right? So like my first 30 days, I was living at DCA, and that was like I had no furniture, bro. No furniture. My
Which you were used to.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But it was
the car going for no furniture. It's like it's upgrade.
But shout out to Maya Maryland. She went to Big Lots and got me plates and forks. And she said, "Where your furniture at?" I'm like, "It's coming. Don't even worry about it." I had no plans. Zero plans. So I had to find a way to win. Like I literally had to find a way to win. And like that safe test we talk about, I passed that by 1 point, right? So it's like, okay.
They give you the breakdown of the score, so you know it's 75, you get 76.
It's 7, they'll let you know.
I feel like people might not know. Deiontae just joined Rocket. So
they're all team Rocket in here, but I'm in the process of training and getting the education of it, and that's something that you've already explained about. First day I got in, I text you like, what should I do? You like read the book like 7 times, take notes, highlight. He's like, and then read it again. I'm like, that's really what you need to do. Like condition yourself to be able to, when you actually get on the floor to talk to people and, distribute that information.
Yeah, because if you don't know it to the point where you can explain it simply, then you don't really know it. Like that's something I learned a long time ago.
That's a good way to put it.
There's a lot of people that like over talk it, but when they get on the phone, they can't. There's no way for them.
Simplicity is genius.
Yeah,
right?
Super simple, bro. Keep it as simple as possible. Look,
sure, Deiontae has
this
all
dude's
of the
a walking ism, right? He has a number.
That's my favorite one, though. That's actually my favorite one out of all of them, though, because it just makes the most sense. If you can't break it down in its simplest form, then you really don't understand it
at all with anything, right?
Yeah,
and it's okay not to know everything, but just don't act like you do, because people won't help you.
Right.
Yeah, man.
I feel like we can dig into a lot of your little nuggets of wisdom because sales is a very tricky industry. I feel like either you get it and you really get it or you don't and you're burnt out after a couple of years. And so we just talked about even Deiontae's class. There's 40, he said, and you're like, half of them are going to actually survive and go through with everything. So what do you think equipped you to do well in that really early on?
Really the people that I kept around me, right? So I got a friend, Nazir Abasula, Nick Abasula, who was like my brother, right, all the way through that. We were so tight, people thought we went to the same high school, and we just let them think that too. I'm like, I've known this kid since middle school, but it was just like the same habits. The same habits that he has, I had. Like we knew what we wanted. We wrote it down every day. Like our studying, whether it was like, first time I like spelled mortgage, I spelled it wrong in front of like 120 people. I got.
Did you forget the T?
The G's.
Oh, the G's.
I'm telling you, I'm not the best.
They were making fun of people with the T's. People didn't know there was a T in mortgage.
I'm telling you,
this is a different way.
I can sell anything. Spelling is tough business. But yeah, that dude has been like my right hand, and now we're talking almost 8 years later. We're both senior directors of mortgage banking, both founders, club director, right? So there's this like level of accountability. He went to purchase. He went to purchase route. I went to refi route. But there's always this check-in. So it's the people you keep around you, and then I would say, who's mentoring you, right? Because you'll get a lot of mentors that'll take you a lot of different ways, and if you're not careful, if you get too far down one road, it's tough to start all the way over and then go back. So you got to just make sure you got the right mentors in place, and I've been able to have like some really great mentors.
And do you? We had another guest on earlier in the season of this episode, of this podcast, talking about different mentors at different levels, right? So like, you don't want to outgrow your mentor, or you will outgrow your mentor, right? So like you have your first initial mentor, and then there's another mentor when you get to another level, because some people can help you for a while in a certain season, but eventually you need to go to somebody else who can get you to that next level. Did you experience that in your time there, or was it something like you always had the same mentor?
I think that I experienced it early as like, because in my family, there's not too many people that have like gone on and graduated from college. So you get to this place and you're like, usually I call my mom, right? And I'm like, okay. All right, let me call my dad. All right, let me call my aunt. All right, now I got to circle back to who was the cousin that graduated first, right? So it's like you keep those people close, and then as you in the industry, it's like, all right, my first director, Blaze, like that was my I went to her for everything, and then a few years go by, and you're like, okay, like she provides this value for me, but who I want to become and what I want to do, I can always like tap back for certain things, but I've got to grow, right? And then you pick up those habits of who you're becoming, because if you're like looking for mentors on the level that you are now, you're not going to advance.
Yeah, it can't
you
be
got to focus on where you're going,
reach up,
right?
Yeah.
So, and then outside of the business too, right? That's like the next step of like who outside of our industry is doing very well, and like how can I study this person?
And what do you look for? Like what attributes or skills are you looking for when you go outside your industry?
People that are like the opposite of me.
Oh,
Like there's literally the opposite of me. And I say that because I feel like I know I'm really self-aware of like who I am and what like the things I bring to the table. So there's a few different like coaches or like emotional intelligence. There's a young woman by the name of Ashley Zibian. She's a beast in emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Right. Like so.
It's so important though, right?
It's insanely important because
in sales and life. Yeah.
If I had a team full of me, my team wouldn't be good. And that's so like it's okay to say like
it's cool that you
they would be cool,
it.
but then they would just argue all day. Right? So you have to understand like different people bring different things to the table, and they're motivated. You may not even understand, right? I have some bankers. I'm like, you can make this X amount of dollars, and they're like, that's all I needed to hear. And I have other ones, I'm like, I'll give you this $25 Amazon gift card. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, and I'm like, me personally, I don't understand that, but it is what it is. And like, you respect them for who they are and what they bring to the table. So that being well-rounded is super important in leadership.
And then what about like, so when you have a mentor and you're receiving that, leadership from others, what do you give to others in your leadership role? Now that you're, you got to senior director banking level, what are some things that you do as a leader to help your people grow and develop?
My biggest thing is taking the stress off of them, right? Because I feel like everybody's like, you're either applying pressure or you're getting pressure put on you, right? So a lot of times when I was younger in my career, like I just outworked everything, right? I don't have a loan today. I'm staying till midnight. That is ridiculously not good for your mental health, right? Like, or I'm gonna just
laugh about it, but I'm like, I get it.
At least you can like see it.
But that was my recipe, right? So now I'm like, hey man, take a step back. Like, go enjoy your family. Like, take a step back. If you bought this thing, like, don't keep working for the next thing. Like, take time and enjoy that thing because
being present.
Like the reason that like I get some of the accolades and like the recognition that I do is because I worked through all that. But there's somebody that was just as successful or more successful that did it a different way. Yeah. And I just try to tell people that I'm mentoring, like, hey, listen, this is how I did it, and you will find success this way. But I didn't hang out with my friends as much as you know what I'm saying? Like when we first got out of school, I wasn't around like that.
So all the people like you were friends with, like Wayne State, like growing up, like,
for like,
you had to cut.
Kind of like isolated.
Bro, for like, it would, like people at Quicken and Rocket became family to me, right? So it was like that solid like year and a half where I would see like a Deiontae or a Grady out, and I would be like, all right, man, let's get food. And I would see somebody from work, and I would literally have to be like, I can't talk to you right now. Like, I literally haven't given these people that I care about any of my time. So having the balance, like what's important. And a lot of times I'm not going to tell you, I just went for the bread. Like I really went for the money and was like, and I learned through like failing that way. And I try to tell my people like, you're going to fail regardless. Like, so you might as well just like have some time with your family or like take a trip or something too.
Yeah.
Right? When did it click for you to kind of value that presence?
It clicks. It clicks on. It clicks off. It's a clicking thing.
I love that.
It's a clicking thing.
It's not clicked on forever.
Yeah, right. Like
Life
PTO
happens.
is definitely maxed out. I need to use some of that. For me, it was as I started to see my nieces and my nephews get older.
Yeah.
And they would ask certain questions, right? Like my nephew is now 8. When I was at Wayne State, he was like in a little baby jersey, and now he's playing football.
Right.
So it's like he's like, you don't come to my practice, and I'm like, oh no, man, like, why am I not going to his practice?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how many times is, like, I'm working going to be the why I'm not going? Or, like, so that really did it. And then my mom, too. So my mom she'll be 60, right? So
you always shout your mom out.
Yeah, shout out my mom.
Too.
My mom's
You're always
beast.
putting on though.
Carolyn Butler's a beast.
No, every Mother's Day I know Ashawn will put like 10
Yeah.
pictures of him and his mom. No, I
Facts.
can see it.
And she's an identical twin too, so it's like
Oh, I'm a twin.
Yeah,
Not
you are too?
identical,
Okay.
but no.
yeah, but it's that, man. It's like people start to get older and time is what it is. Like I want to be able to spend like that time with her. Like me and her
Yeah.
we'll take a trip to Chicago on a weekend and just go. You know what I mean? And shop and then fly back. And it's cool. So those moments become more as I get older, they become more and more important to me. So yeah. I think it's just age and time, bro.
Absolutely. And another thing about age and time, I think, is also just like your understanding. You said it was self-awareness, talking about emotional intelligence too.
Yeah.
But one big thing we talk about on the show is also like the financial awareness too, and like growing up in a family. Like I think me and you relate a lot,
Yeah.
like not having everything growing up.
Yeah,
but
it
get
was
to a
light.
space of like you start making more money. Like I think in the last year, I made more money than my mom did. And this is like one of the first years I ever did that, and it's like crazy because you get to a level of like, okay, so who do I go to now for the information to how to get to this next level? Like, you go through so much of life, like seeing your mom as a person that provides, helps you out, and then you compare pay stubs, you make more than your mom, you're kind of like, okay, so now how do I help my mom, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the roles reverse. How's that been like for you in your life?
So for me, it's more about like being able to provide the things for, like I said, like my nieces and my nephews and my mom that like she wanted to do, but she couldn't do at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right. And then also breaking that mentality, like, because I learned some good things about finances from my mom and I learned some bad things about finances from my mom.
Right. What were some of those things?
So the good things about it is she's like, always save your money, it'll save you. Right. Okay. I gotta put something up. Right, but my mom also makes sure we like always. I have a bad shoe habit, like an insane shoe habit. But my mom always made sure we had. You know what I mean? She always made sure we had good food and good shoes. Right, like to the best.
I like that good food.
Yeah,
and good
they
shoes.
do. Right, but that was just like that was her mentality. But there was also this like a survival mentality, like where I remember I getting money and like literally like. I would have money. My cousin will tell you, I used to put like money in shoes, right? Like in my shoe stacks. And like now it's like nobody in my family that I knew was like investing money. Now I'm in a place where I'm investing money and I'm looking at investing in restaurants and different things of that nature. So my dad is like a super like, I want to fly a plane. I want to own a jet. My dad's ideas are absolutely amazing.
Right.
My mom is so consistent with her, like what she does every day. So I got the best of both worlds with my parents apart. Like, best of both worlds. Like, literally the best of both worlds.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we talked about that early on, too, because my parents are divorced. And from their divorce, you know, I've found great mentors in my step-parents or just, like, anybody that those two have brought in. So I can appreciate the...
Yeah. I mean, they open up two new worlds for you. So.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I would say that she always told me my money would save me. And then my other mentors, like, I had... Michael Rieger, he's my SVP right now. When I first got the Rocket, I didn't know what a 401k was.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So you were coming from a place of like, everything
Bro,
your
I
mom
knew
taught
nothing.
you, but it was like, there's a whole new level now.
There's a whole new level,
Yeah.
right? And then he was like, put that at 15%. Like, 15%, whatever, bro. So I moved it at 15%. Didn't know it was my 401k. I'm talking like 3.5 years later. I circled back and like I got an email or something. I logged in. I'm like, that's my money? He was like, yeah, that's your money, but you can't get until you retire, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, but that's my money? He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm good. I felt great, right? I felt absolutely amazing. Couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
I did the math.
Oh, my
Compound
God.
interest, eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
I'm great. I don't
So
know
that
what
was
everybody else is
like
doing.
your moment of like, okay, it works. Like I
Yeah,
can invest,
word.
I can
Yeah.
put money to this. I don't have to. I can put 15% of my income
away. And I
away
didn't know it.
and didn't know it. So you're living off 85%, and you now have this money set to the side. When you look at it,
Yeah.
like, okay, crazy.
I'm actually living off less because I was saving money like that money didn't exist. I really
Yeah.
treated like I truly did not know that money existed.
That's the biggest mind trick. Now I have
Yeah.
like separate bank accounts where the money comes in. I don't even see it in my like main spending account. Like it already gets separated before it even comes in.
just don't have a
It's
card for it. You be straight.
Yeah, that's another one too.
That's a
actually.
trick.
That's a
Because the
big
checking
one.
and the savings account do not work.
Yeah.
I'll get on Chase right now and go from saving to checking.
Too easy.
It's
yeah.
getting hard now with the
Yeah.
tap to pay too. You get the
Yeah.
cards on the wallet, so you just pop one out. real
Apple
fast.
Pay like it's
Yeah.
Apple's paying for it. It's not good. Just not good. I'm getting better though.
What are some of those like big financial tips that you learned that really changed the game for you?
I would say, like, if you invest your money, just act like it's completely gone, right? That was huge for me.
Well, what are some of the investments that you guys started with?
I'm a big Nike guy. There was a point in time where I had a lot of Nike. Now I have a lot of Apple. I have some rocket stocks. I'm always going to believe in the rocket going to the moon. Please go to the moon. There's different, like, QQQ, right? Like different ways, VOO. Those are some ways like that. I put money away like I'm paying myself, right?
How'd you start learning about how to do that?
My leaders, like my leaders, literally, they saw me and they saw what I was like doing with someone. They're like, what are you doing with like this? What are you doing with that? Like, what's your goals? Like, do you want to retire? When do you want to retire? And then that made like the burnout you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
There's no burning out now because I'm gonna, you know what I mean? I'm gonna retire, and I see like every client that I'm able to help is getting me. They're getting exactly what they want, and then I'm getting one step closer to what I want, which is the finish line is to spend more time with the people you love, right? Like ultimately, that's what you want to do. You want to make an X amount of dollars so you can go do this with the people you love. The faster I get to these numbers, the more time I get to spend with the people I love.
You have a set goal.
I know where I'm going.
Right.
And that's always been my thing. Like even in the morning time, or like some people get ready in the morning and they go through their routine. I'm at night. Like I'll write down.
So night routine is big.
Yeah, I'm a night. So like I'll write down like 3 or 4 things I need to do, and then I'm like I sleep on it. Literally sleep on it. I'll get up, hit snooze once. I'm like, all right, it's time to go. Right, just like winter conditioning.
It's one snooze.
I put my feet on the floor and then I'm moving. Yeah. Right, and then that allows me to like get in a routine. I might send a text message or like a voice memo to like some of my bankers or something, and then at 7:20, I'm talking to my mom from 7:20 to 7:40. We're just like going like on the phone because like I said, time is precious, right? So I'm having those conversations with her.
Every morning thing.
Every morning.
The way you put the time though, that was like that.
Yeah, because she'll call. Like I know when she gets out of work every morning. So
she's working midnights.
Yeah. So we'll have that conversation, and then I'm like, all right, let's go. That's how I start my day.
I love that.
Yeah, the night routine is big though. I think a lot of people are hype on like the morning routine, get up and meditate, and it's great. I'm not gonna knock it because I have a good morning routine, but the night routine is that bridge to having a good morning. Because if you're able to maximize that nighttime, feel good, I bet you sleep good.
Sleep great.
You're thinking about your goals. You're like, okay, so you go to sleep, and it just activates that part of your mind that's like, my goals are working. I'm figuring out new ideas, and you wake up, and then I bet some days you wake up, and you're like, oh.
I'm already moving, and that's what I was telling you too about I'll share it with you, like I'll show you. But my first year of mortgage banking, I literally wrote down every day, like where I was going, what I wanted to be, how much like I wanted to have saved within that first year. I was writing down, before I even knew how to write a loan, I was writing down like director, Ashawn Butler, team name, right? Like I had it all planned and mapped out like that first 5 years, and there's like very few things on there that I didn't hit. Like I'm talking about like right on. I even like named my team one of the names I had written down my first team was the Monopoly, and I like was like remember sitting in sitting in class like getting 60s on these practice tests. And this kid's looking at me. You know what I'm saying? This kid is looking at me like there's no way this kid's passing this test. And I'm like, director Ashawn Butler. Like, I'm making this. I'm just like figuring it out. Right.
Yeah. But, and that's was it fun for you? Like, or you like, okay, I'm seriously gonna do this? Like,
no, I knew I had to do it.
Okay.
So that's not. Work for me is like, I don't even call it work. I just like, it's like competition. I feel like it's a new game for me every day. But I knew like, if I accomplish these things, my goal is to like, people talk about like generational wealth. I'm cool with generational wealth if that's what you're going for. I just want to be the coolest person my family's ever known, right? And there's certain things,
very simple,
you know what I mean? But there's like certain things I need to achieve for them to know me when I'm not here anymore. Like, what does our family's college fund look like? Do we have one? Do we not? All right, cool. Is it in a trust? Is it not in a trust? All right, cool. How much money needs to stay in there, and how long does it need to grow so that X, Y, and Z generation get to touch it, right? Because it is fun. Like we do the family Disney trips now, right? And that's cool. It is cool, but that is a picture.
Yeah.
Right? It's a moment in time and it's a picture. It may paint a little vision, but like we got to make sure like the actions that we're taking now like actually work and it hits because we only got so much time to do it.
Absolutely. And that information, the access to information changes the game, right? Wow. So I always think about that too. It's like you can make a lot of money, but if you don't understand what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Like the money is great, but the information, the access to different rooms and different people really is the goal, right? To get into a space where you don't have to work as much because you have access to more information, you have access to different people, and like you said, invest in restaurants, invest in different things like that.
Most people only know how to spend money. Isn't that crazy? Like most people walking down the street, like only know how to spend it. They never know how to get it back. And it's in circulation. And like if you really want money, it'll come to you. You just gotta like be looking for it. You do. You literally
and also write it down.
Write it down and like you can attract it to you. I promise you can attract.
Yeah.
You can really attract anything you want to you, but like make sure the things that you're attracting to you understand they got a consequence on the backside of it too. Like when you're like hustling and you're like starting your career off and X, Y, like there's a lot of people in your life right now you give a lot of time to and a lot of love to that when you get to like the next level, you got to be careful because you won't be able to give them that same time and love, and they'll think you changed. You didn't change. You just like are building on another level. They're just as important or more important, but you just don't have time to give them that much.
And then when you get to those new levels, though, like you're saying, there's other people that come up with you, right? Like when you get to that new level, now you meet new people. It's fearful because you're leaving the people that you not leaving, but like you spend more time with. But then what happens when you go to that next level? You meet other people that are on the same level as you that want to connect with you.
I would describe it as like you get to 10 and then you get to 11 and you look up and it's like 11, 12, 13, 14. Like you got to get to 20, right? So different levels are in different rooms. And as I like matured and I was growing through this, I didn't understand that you get to a certain spot, like when you're chasing your dreams or whatever it is you're chasing, that you doubt if you have what it takes to get to that next level because you've never had to use everything you have that much, right? Yeah. It's unfamiliar. So once you get that capacity, you have to get the capacity to take on like the different roles, right? Yeah. And I've got some people like that I like. Celine Hitchcock-Gear is one of my mentors too, and to see like the way she moves, it's insane. Like the things she's able to accomplish in a day and like the energy she uses to do it. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? Like I got so much more room to grow and like. So when you see people that are high achievers or they're like been able to go from this point to this point, I give them a lot of respect because people think that like if you just know them, then you can do what they do, and it's not. You didn't go through the adversity that they went through, so you don't know what it's.
I think the adversity is what makes us right. Like it's not about so much of the fame and excitement and good things, but like you were down, you were kicked. Like in your story, you had about 4 or 5 situations that kicked you down, but you kept going through. I think that's more. Telling of who you are today and the success
even at Wayne State, right? If you think about it, I was out of school for 6 months, right? Doing that. So I didn't play football for 6 months. I broke my ankle. I get to Wayne State. I didn't play all of 2012. I didn't play all of 2013. I came out and started 2014. I was a captain in 2015.
Yeah.
Right? So it was
like... it set you up for success,
it set me up for success, bro. Like, I was tired of going to the training room and not playing football. It was like,
it'll do something,
But it
bro.
taught you how to work and see an outcome and
see it all the way through.
It gives you like the light at the end of the tunnel that a lot of people don't get. Like I knew something was coming. I was working, but I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what it was.
Well, most people in college, they're just looking for a degree and they have no idea what that light looks like, right? So... I mean, you said something earlier about, like, you just want to be able to get into the right room with the right people.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of why we started this podcast, because anybody can, pull up their phone and they're in that room. We're having the conversations with the people that they should be learning from, and it's like a starting point and a way to access that information that feels so out of touch and out of reach. So, like, we come in here because we really want to provide those details and those steps. Like, what's your perfect recipe for success? Even if you just had to put it on paper for finances, if you had to start over tomorrow, how would you reset?
My reset would be, I know a lot of people, I would keep it exactly the same because I learned, but my reset would be, number one, I would get somebody like a financial advisor when I first started, right? I didn't
even
do
if they have $0? If
I got $0, I want somebody to be able to put a plan down for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just need, like, a plan. Because once I saw how long it would take for me to actually get the money to where I wanted it, it became real. Right? So, write down a plan of where you want to go. That's the first thing. The second thing is you got to have patience and persistence. Like, be impatient with the day-to-day stuff, but be patient with the process throughout. I would dress as if you are where you're already going, right? Like, I'm not telling you to go get $1,000 suits or nothing like that, but you can find a place to, like, if that's what just get a button down and, like, tuck your shirt in. Some people are so anti tuck your shirt in, but, like, get a button down, tuck your shirt in, belt it up, because you never know when the opportunity is coming. And we talked about, like, getting in those rooms. A lot of the times before you get in the room, your name is already in the room.
Right.
And, like, what does your name sound like in that room? You got to have advocates,
what's your
right?
reputation? Yeah.
So it's like those little things really do matter and add up. And I didn't know that. I was just like, I'm gonna be the best ever at this. And there's politics that come with that, right? Yeah. So I would be more aware of the politics in it, and I would be more aware of what I said and how I said it and when I said it. Because once you say it, you can't take it back. So that's what I would tell somebody. And as you, especially within that first year, like, make sure you have a set number that you put to the side. The parties will come, the clubs will come, the shoes, the car, watches, all that stuff. That's gonna come eventually. But you want to feel like, if Deiontae's like, hey man, I want to open up this. Can you invest in it? I want to be like, yeah, I can invest in my friend. Versus somebody like, oh man, I just got the new watch, so I gotta wait, right? Like, no, bro. Like, are you able to take advantages of opportunities when they come to you? And what does that look like? You got to look at yourself like a business. So that's the way that's what I would tell somebody. That would be my recipe.
I like that fresh reset. I like the plan though. I think that's the biggest one too. A lot of people are like you said, you don't have any money in your bank account. Your bank account might be negative, right? Yeah. And you like get a plan to become a millionaire. It's like, but you don't have anything to start. But you have a plan to get to somewhere, right? And a lot of people don't have that information. When they do have it, it activates something inside you. It's like a game, right? Like you're playing a football game. You know the score.
Save $1,000. Like, find a way to get to 1,000. If you can't find a way to get to 1,000, get to 100. Like, if you can get to 100, you can get to 1,000. Like, I firmly believe that. And it's after you start saving money, you like seeing it in that account more than you like spending it in somebody else's account. So that's what you're gonna spend. And if you like something, sometimes you need to spend a little money. Like, you need to. Like, I wouldn't tell you that. My first year, I've read through everything. Right? Like, I was like, I'm rich.
Yeah, let's talk about it because I feel like
the first time I made a 5-figure check, I was like, I'm rich. Nobody can tell me anything. Like, I got it. I got it. I don't need anybody's help. Excuse me. Move on my way. Thank you. No, it was wild.
I don't got any furniture, but
0. I'm gonna figure it out later after I go buy a bottle. But different times.
Yeah. So that's if you were talking, because I'm gonna ask you kind of the reset question, but a lot of people listen to our podcast are in that span of like graduating college, getting to their first career. So a lot of things I want to talk about too are like how to navigate some of those politics. Because you talk about politics, it's kind of a buzzword. Everyone's like, oh, there's politics and there's politics here. But like, truly, what advice do you have for somebody who's like just got out of college, like maybe an intern you're working with and they're about to get their first job. Like, what are some things that they got to navigate when they first get out there?
Man, I would just say, number one, let your work speak for you more than you speak for yourself. Right? You have to be somebody that shows up and executes at a high level. That's the first thing. And then, like I said, with those mentorships, right, or getting mentors, those mentors are people that'll influence your entire career in a good way or a bad way. And it's not because they're saying anything negative about you, but it's because they're not talking about you at all, right? So you get a couple people in your corner.
If they're not speaking your name
at all, you should have certain leaders in positions where they market for you when nobody else is marketing for you. And that's something I learned like a little bit late. Like, I got hired by a great SVP, Michael Rieger, right? That's still my guy to this day. Like, I can call Rieger right now, he pick up the phone, right? So he did a lot of advocating for me. The thing about it is you got to have more people advocating for you, especially if you're somebody who, like, if you get off to a fast start, right? People are going to think that you have it down packed.
Right. Let
people know what you're working on, what you're doing to work on it, and then ask for their feedback and circle back.
Okay.
I send emails out for feedback all the time. Like, sometimes I'll be like, I just sent an email, I got lit up. Oh, my goodness. But I was like,
31.
I'm 31 years old. But I sent the email and I was like,
I'm done. I'm here.
I sent it out to I want to say 8 to 10 SVPs. And I was like, I'm looking for transformational feedback, not transactional feedback. Like, I want directly replies straight to me. Some of it I got, I was like, oh. Whoa. Right?
Right? People that
but I got people that'll be honest with me. Right. So, and people respect somebody that's like,
oh, for sure.
That's been in it and like open to it. And I'm like, okay, so take this feedback, get one of my mentors. This is what was said. How can we work on it?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I would always be asking for feedback. I'd be the hardest worker in the room and focus on making people around you better.
Right.
Whatever that is. Mindset talk, help them on the phone. Like, that's what I would do if I first started again.
That's really good. Yeah. Especially I like that part too about just letting your work speak for you rather than you speaking for yourself. Because I think at the end of the day, it's like that work is going to always, precede you. It's going to always walk around before you. Even if you walking in your room and be like, oh, AB's presenting. It's like, what is the expectation of quality that you're going to bring to that room when you walk in there?
You'll get the benefit of the doubt a lot too, right? Because people will trust you. I'm always messing with my team. I'm like, speed and trust equals revenue. Like, speed and trust equals revenue. But it's like, if those people trust you, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt, right? You've experienced it in sports and like in career and life, right? So it's like, is he gonna knock this out of the park? Yeah, we got it. I give him like the benefit. You could not be prepared at all, right? Be prepared. Right. But like people will be prepared.
Don't lead you the wrong way.
People will assume like you have something, but then it's your job to show up and like let them know like they were correct about you. So that's what I would say. Their name, bro. You don't get 2 times to make a first impression. Not at all. Never. Like in anything. So you got to make sure your name is like on point.
And that brings me to another question I want to ask you too, because I know we talked about isms a little earlier, but do you have any like your personal core values? Like, kind of what are some things that you believe in, things that you will not negotiate with, negotiate for. Kind of
just like a bank, like for somebody on my team or just in my life?
Like for you, for your life, like what you stand on. And, if it's different for your team, you got some things specific for work, that would be cool too.
In my life, loyalty is huge for me, right? Like loyalty is the number one thing for me because emotions will come and go, but like if a person is loyal to you and they're loyal to whatever you're working towards, you can figure out a way to have a conversation, get feedback, and move because their intentions are pure.
Right.
Right. Big on loyalty, love leadership, obviously. That's what I'm still in the game doing. I would say my family. Like, I value my family. Like, that's
family
cool. Like the family
time.
time. If even from like the movies I watch, right? I'm watching The Godfather like 20 times, right? The first one, not the other ones, right? Like that, like those things motivate me and keep me focused. But on my team, I just say, listen, obviously we have the isms. Like we have a philosophy that works. But personally, it's like think and care. I want people that can think and people that care. And when people make decisions, I'm like, were you thinking? Did you care? All right, does the action show that? If it does, great. We can have a conversation and hash it out. But if it doesn't, then we got to have a different conversation, right? Because those are the only two. You can't give people rules. You got to figure out what they value. Like, give them values and they'll think for themselves. But if you give them rules, like, they're going to break. Like, rules will be broken. They will be broken. So just figure out what people value, put together a nice team, like values, and then people will make the right decision, hopefully.
And you talk about emotional intelligence. When did that start to matter to you? Like, when did you start looking inwards?
When I got feedback that I was not emotionally intelligent.
I mean, the first time you heard that even, did it strike a chord with you? Or you're like, okay, whatever?
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right, what do you mean?
Because if you're not emotionally intelligent, you're not going to care about that.
Yeah, so it was, for me, it was like, okay. Like, what does someone who is emotionally intelligent do? I'm such a literal thinker. I went and got Emotional Intelligence 2.0 and I read it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this dude's about to get chased by a shark. I don't get this part, right? But whatever. And then it became the way you speak to people, right? That was like the first part of it. And then it was like when you speak to people.
Yeah.
And like the approach to people. So over time, it became something, and I still work on it. I'm not perfect at emotional intelligence at all. It's not close.
Right.
But it's something that I understand, like, where I am with it, and I work towards getting better at it. And there's moments where, like, I could say something where I just like, no, I'm not going.
Because it's like you can't be perfect at emotional intelligence.
No.
It's like you're dealing with your own emotions, and then you're trying to help others or understand other people's emotions at the same time.
And their perception of how you feel in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Because I am, like, a lot of times my face is just straight, and I'm happy. Like, I'm really happy. Like, I thought you were
I'm not sold
I thought you was mad. I thought you were mad at me. I'm like, no, did I say I was mad at you? Like, I just go through my checklist
because
of
people think differently.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that are guarded and reading into everything because they don't know how to.
Even like to a point where certain people, like if I feel like they're intimidated by me, and I go talk to them, I'll get down on one knee. And I'm not bowing to them, but it's just like I'm letting them know like you can have your guard down. Yeah, I'm not a threat. Like I'm about to.
Like with a dog, right?
Yeah, literally, it's the exact same thing.
If you're bigger than a dog, they're gonna be scared of you.
That literally is perfect. Yeah, that dog analogy.
You're not on their level.
I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer that like your energy speaks for you. So like before you even start talking, people know what you're giving off.
And learning how to like turn it on and turn it off. Because some rooms you need to walk. Like I walk in every room as myself, but like some rooms you need to walk in and it's like, oh, he here.
Yeah.
And other rooms you need to walk in and nobody should even know you're present.
Yeah.
Like
so what's your pregame like? You know, we like call this like recording session. This is our game nowadays because he's from sports and like.
Yeah, it's our game day. I'm thinking about it all week,
right?
preparing for this. Like, what are some things you do before you have a big meeting or a big presentation? Like, how do you get yourself ready?
I'm talking to myself. So we did. I did a presentation at a speech at to inspire like the directors at the DMB gathering, and I was like in the back room like. I got this. You know what I mean? Did a flex real quick. I'm about to, man, what? Somebody gonna get inspired. I need one person. And I walked out. I'm like, those lights are bright. Right? Man, this is not how the rehearsal went. But usually the whole time I'm telling myself, like, I knew this was coming. Like, I knew it was coming. And if I take advantage of the moment, I was ready for it. And there's no way I can fail in it, though. Like, I literally tell myself, like, I can't fail in this moment. Even if I get up there and I freeze, I got to learn. Right? So I'm literally talking to myself a lot of times. I'm like, come on, AB, man. What are we doing? Like who better? What? Let's go.
Right.
And it's like that, but it's like
that pump up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you gotta have like a power move. I tell people on my team, like, you should have a power move.
What's your
like,
power move?
Like if you just flex real quick,
yeah,
you're ready.
That's my
you know
dad.
what I'm saying?
Right.
My dad. Every picture you see with my dad, he's got an arm up.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta
he
have
calls
a
it
power.
Bastien strong.
Bastien strong.
Yep.
I like
Graduation,
that.
every ceremony, he'd be like, throw up a muscle.
But you know it's coming, right?
Yeah.
It's just like. So but mostly like talking to myself, and I'm nervous every time. People are like, you're so good up there, you're so confident. It looks like, I'm nervous every time because you never know.
Yeah.
Right, but football helped out with that a lot.
Right, but did you get nervous before football games too, right? Or were you just
I was chilling.
That's weird. I was so nervous before every game.
Man. Before games, it was like, we just gonna make it happen. I just felt like this. You know me, I would go out early and like see the other team and like talk to them. Like,
AB would be out there.
Barking. Early. I want you to know.
Just a mental game, right?
You got your mom and your sister here to see you lose. What's up? Right? Like I was like ready. Like I was ready, and then to come because I knew like leading, like when you're leading 80, 90 people, I can't come in there and be quiet and be nervous, right? Like I just was like, everybody's leadership style is different, right? Like you might have been nervous, but you was able to speak. If I'm nervous, I can't talk to them and be like that. You know, I was always like sweat, you know what I mean? People would call it cocky, whatever. I was just like, I'm prepared.
No, I never seen it as cocky though. I always knew it came from a place. I think that's one thing I respect about you because like I knew you as a person, and then when you operate as a leader, because people that if they're around at Wayne State, you did do some things that were like, oh, AB, he's kind of strong. I remember one day was a freshman came in late. And AB escorted him out the weight room.
Got him up out of there.
You got him up out of there.
Yeah, got him out of there.
And from that moment, though, but like for me as a freshman scene, I was like, well, I'm not going to be late anymore. I'm not going to do what he did.
No,
you know
that
what I'm
sets
saying?
a standard.
It does.
And
It set a
you
standard
take that
for sure.
into your career now, don't you?
Yeah, I have to, right? So just...
He's not throwing people out in the office.
No, we're not throwing anybody out of the office, but the standard is a standard on my team, right? If I send a message in our team chat, I don't need you to respond just respond number one. And some people are like, well, why do you do that? I'm like, I want you to understand, like, if you're on this team, the goal is to get to number one. I don't care who's in front of you. Like, when you go home, you should be the best husband, father, daughter, wife, girlfriend, whatever, boyfriend, whatever you want to be, right? Like, but you should have a number one mentality because the people around you deserve that. And if you're not going to give them that, don't do it. I tell people that all the time. If you're not going to give people, like, the best of what you got, like, just don't do it. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. And that's what I tried to do. Sometimes I was very ambitious with doing that. Yeah. But other times, it always came from a good place because I always wanted to see people be great. And I still do today. So that's
true. And we're kind of reaching our time here today.
That's
man.
a great note to leave it off on. Yeah.
That was great. This is great. Absolutely. I really appreciate, like I said when I saw you today, man. Appreciate your time. I know you had a crazy airplane ride. Always moving.
No, I love learning from you. I love watching you. Like even what you post on your stories, I pay attention because like you're somebody to look up to. So
thank you.
It's really cool to put you in this room and get you in front of other people too.
Absolutely. No, I'm forever grateful for our friendship over the years, but even now, a friendship is now even a partnership in business as well too. So
you're grown, man.
Yeah, I'm growing. I'm 26 now, so I'm I feel old. I remember when I was like 25. You're old as crap, but now I'm 26, so turning 27. We'll all be at the Wayne State football game when they play.
September 9th.
September 9th is my birthday, and then my wife's birthday, Ellie, is September 8th. So it's gonna be like a whole birthday.
So you don't have
weekend.
a birthday anymore.
We share it, but it's really hers.
No, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely,
we created a thing together. So we always let you have space at the end to say anything to the listeners about just whatever you want to leave them with, and then also where can they follow you and find out more about you in the future.
So first of all, I want to say thank you to both of you for this opportunity. I'm really excited to be sitting in front of you. Right, I love what you're doing with the podcast, and I've seen some great people up here, so to be a part of that. It's beautiful. For the listeners, I would just say, number one, just make sure you have goals, right? Everybody needs goals. Look at the people around you. Do they have goals? Are they written down? I ask my friends all the time, like, what's the $1 million plan? Like, what's your $1 million plan? If they don't have one, you can just slowly exit their lives because I don't know if they, right? What's the $1 million plan?
Be gentle about
it. Yeah, be gentle, but like slowly exit out because who you're becoming is the people you're hanging around. And then if you're looking for me on Instagram, we were talking about Twitter turning to X or something.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm out of there. But for Instagram, it's Ashawn Butler 1. Facebook is just Ashawn Butler, and then you can always add me on LinkedIn too. If you want to get some time on the books, just put it in my calendar. I got you. I live and die by my calendar. Yep.
Yes,
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, this has been another episode of Focus Up.